Hi everyone, welcome to episode 172 of SAMO. And I said we'd never reach it, this goalpost, but we have. Now today we're going to discuss our GeneratorX Pro. It's a generator that hasn't been out for very long. It supersedes the GeneratorX in various ways. And the purpose of this SAMO is to discuss what you can do with GeneratorX Pro. Okay, well, without much further ado, I'll show you what GeneratorX Pro looks like. This is our GeneratorX Pro. You can see that it's very similar to the older GeneratorX, but the changes to the generator are more on the inside, and we'll be discussing this very shortly. Share screen, and now I'm going to share PowerPoint. Where's PowerPoint gone? I can't find PowerPoint. Oh my goodness. Email, finder, PowerPoint. There we go. Okay, so now we are away again, so let's start. Okay, this is our GeneratorX Pro, and that's the date for those of you who need the date. Okay, now GeneratorX Pro truly is the most powerful Rife generator on the planet. It's got features and capabilities that other generators do not have and cannot meet. The very latest computers inside the box have been replaced to the very latest versions, and another one's been added to improve its performance. Now, GeneratorX Pro's got two generators inside. You can see G1 and G2 just on the right-hand side image. It can work in standalone mode. This means you can load programs into it and run those programs later without the generator needing to be connected to a computer. It's convenient if you want to lend the generator out to people who are not familiar with using computers, or even with yourself if you don't want to have a noisy computer on your bedside while you're doing overnight treatments. This is an explanation of its controls. The power button on the top right, yeah, stop button, start if you want the generator to run the program once, or loop if you want it to continue looping through the same program until you hit the stop button. All of these are for offline modes. GeneratorX Pro can be used for all the modalities of treatment of Spooky2. That's the central, which is our plasma unit, remote contact mode, pulse TMF coil, and cold laser. I noticed that Claudia Solver is not there as well. Claudia Solver in online mode is like when it's connected to a computer, gives you wonderful Claudia Solver. It can also do it in offline mode, not quite to the same high standard. Okay, now people quite often ask us which generator should they purchase. Should they buy the GeneratorX Pro or the XM generator? Now the XM generator has been with us for a great number of years, and it's a very good generator. It's a basic generator though. It can't do biofeedback, it can't do the high frequencies, and it can't do the high resolution of the frequencies that the GeneratorX can use. But it's cheap, it's very affordable, and it's a great choice for people that are starting out. GeneratorX Pro does contain two generators in one, whereas the XM generator is obviously just one generator. The GX Pro can run at 40 megahertz native speed with any waveform, and of course it can run in offline mode without connection to a computer. It can load 30 programs. These are things that the XM generator cannot do. Now, the GeneratorX Pro also has 8 decimal place resolution, right up to 40 megahertz, which is totally unheard of for Rife generators, this kind of resolution. If you don't get the precise frequencies, of course, you don't get the same precise results. The Spooky2 database contains frequencies which have incredible resolution. The programs in Spooky2 will utilize the maximum resolution of the generator that's connected. So if it has a program that is from a DNA database, if it's connected to the XM generator, it will have 2 decimal place resolution. If it's connected to the GeneratorX Pro, you'll get 8 decimal place resolution. There's also amplitude modulation, and the XM generator can't do this. And also the GX Pro can upgrade the firmware. Okay, now GeneratorX Pro, because it uses a different method of biofeedback, is faster in performing these biofeedbacks. The biofeedbacks are an order of magnitude faster than the XM generator, which has to rely on the Spooky pulse. If you have a very slow pulse, your biofeedbacks will be very slow because it can only increment each frequency step every pulse. It's got the facility of performing biofeedback on biological samples. You can put saliva or phlegm, nasal discharge or anything, blood sample, between the 2 plates of the sample digitizer and run a biofeedback on that sample. This is something which has never before been available for home use. There are laboratory devices that can do a similar function, probably not at the same accuracy as how GeneratorX can do it. But now everyone can do it themselves, so it's power to the people. There's also TENS pads. You can connect TENS pads to your body and perform biofeedback scans. Now, a biofeedback scan is where the generator will sweep a broad range of frequencies and find the frequencies that your body needs. The GeneratorX Pro does this by monitoring the signal that passes through your body. It monitors both the current and the phase angle and tells you which frequencies provided the strongest response. In Rife circles, we call it as frequency hits. You can choose how many hits you get after a biofeedback scan, and then you can run them. Now, there's 3 different types of biofeedback that Spooky GeneratorX Pro can perform. There's general, optimize, and grade. The general biofeedback scan is a scan that most people, I guess, would use, where you want to find the frequencies that your body needs. These scans will scan from a start frequency to a stop frequency, and at the end of the scan, present you with the results. At that point in time, you can choose to save the frequencies into a program for later use. But there's 2 other types as well. There's an optimized scan. To run an optimized scan, you load the programs that you think you may need. What the GeneratorX Pro will do is inspect each frequency that's within that program and tell you which of those frequencies are most important. I'm sorry, I've got myself. I'm busy describing a grade scan. No, it'll scan through the frequencies within the program, and it will refine them. You may find that instead of 878 hertz, it's 877.985 hertz. Precision matters with treatments. Most of the frequencies in the main Spooky2 database do not have any decimal places, so they've been rounded to the closest integer. That's good for old-fashioned generators that don't have decimal places, but Spooky2 now has 8 decimal places, so we want to get it as accurate as possible. So that's what an optimized scan does. It optimizes the frequencies. Instead of being ballpark, they're precise. And the grade scan is what I was mentioning before, where it will scan the frequencies within a program and tell you which frequencies are more important. You can choose those frequencies and run them. How to perform a GX Pro biofeedback scan using the TENS pads. The best method that we have found is to place the TENS pads on your abdomen as seen above. You turn on the GeneratorX Pro and then you choose the biofeedback presets. Now I'm going to skip through the next few slides because I'm going to show you live rather than just showing you static images. So don't worry too much about this. Okay. Powering through here. It's sample digitizer. Again, I've got a sample digitizer here, so I'm going to describe it personally rather than just relying on slides. Sample digitizer is an amazing accessory. Here you can see the hit results have been presented after a biofeedback scan. The wonderful thing about a sample digitizer, you don't have to be there whilst the scan is taking place. So you can set the scan to take an hour and just come back in an hour's time and view the results. Okay, so now as a special promotion, and for the very first time, we have prepared a mid-year sale with discounts on a lot of products. Now, this is the link shown there, so I'll leave it on this page for a little while you scribble it down. Contrary to popular belief, if you touch it using your finger on your computer screen, it's not like a link which sends you to that web page. Unless, of course, you're lucky and you've got a touch screen computer. But that's the link there. So just go to our spooky2-mall.com blog section and you'll find it there. Discover the best mid-year sale at Spooky2. Now, what I asked Yura to do, Yura spent the time in creating this PowerPoint, so thank you, Yura. I asked her to just quickly throw together the things that we have done with our charity work, just so people that aren't familiar with Spooky2 realize that we're not just a company in it for profit. We actually do want to make a big improvement to the world, and it's why so many people have decided to support us. And you can see evidence of this on our Facebook groups, on our forum, and with our own main websites. Now we've got this $1, I think it's $2 actually, for the Spooky2 Global Aid Foundation. This one, anything that you buy, $1 is added. That's to aid the environment, animals, and people in need. Now we've actually got $1 doesn't sound much, you know, but we do a lot more. We've got a Spooky2 Global Aid Foundation that we formed. It's a registered foundation, and I'll go into more details here. Now, up to now, we've helped 4 charity organisations: We Forest, The Sound of Animals, Develop Africa, and Porta Alberta IAP. And you can click on this link. You can't click on this link. You can quickly write down the link and have a look at it later. We've helped charities who are local in different countries to raise the level of humanity, living standards, education, health, food, medical. In June, very recently, we donated books to the children in the mountainous areas of Yunnan. These children don't have books to help them learn, or they have very scant materials. So we've helped them by providing the books. And they thanked us by giving us potatoes, beautiful fresh potatoes, which is, you know, it's a beautiful gesture. So we distributed the potatoes amongst the staff. Every month we release fish into the rivers. It's a way of saving lives and raise the awareness of people. We try and promote eating vegetables only, and this is part of that. We, for most of the days of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of the working week, we provide vegetarian food to all our staff, so they don't go out and buy meat products. We want to make a change to humanity, and we're doing it in our own little way. Here's your There you go, Sonoma. More lives, be free. I won't tell you whose bottom that is. There's my girl. Cool. We find that when we release animals, a lot of people are watching us and they're wondering what we're doing, so we tell them and they get involved, or sometimes they get involved, or they certainly watch. And they must be thinking, you know, maybe there's something they can do. Maybe they can start saving lives in some way and stop eating meat. But there's part of many things that we do to try and raise humanity. Okay, now back to the subject, GeneratorX Pro. Now I'm going to now start up Spooky2 software and show you how to do biofeedbacks, because I skipped that part, didn't I? Okay, this is the very, very latest version of Spooky2. I change it quite regularly. I update it because I'm always wanting the best. My standards are high. this version, I believe, has been just uploaded to our Spooky2-more website. If you click on downloads, you can grab it from there. When Spooky2 first starts, it's in normal mode. There is an advanced mode. If you go to Utils and click on Toggle Advanced Features, what happens is more tabs appear and more options are there. Okay, so we'll go back to normal mode. Okay. Okay, now here's my GeneratorX Pro. You can see it as two boxes because there are the two generators within one. Okay, now I've got Sample Digitizer connected to the generator. I'll put the slides on. These are the slides where you place your biological sample. You place the drops of the biological sample on the black surface and you sandwich it with the other slide. Then you just put it into the sample digitizer, just like that, until it clicks. Okay, that's all you do. Make sure it's connected to output number 1. It's marked as output number 1. Okay, and it's 4. So this is the generator which I've used. Now, I'm using a sample digitizer, so I want to choose a sample digitizer preset. So I click on Presets tab, click on Biofeedback, GeneratorX, which of course is GeneratorX Pro as well. And these are the presets which are available. Now you can choose any of these presets. I would, for demonstration purposes, choose a GeneratorX Fast Biofeedback Scan. When you click on the preset, of course, you get the notes here. I recommend you do read the notes. More information is given on how you connect TENS pads if you're using TENS pads, how you can improve the biofeedback results. So I've clicked on the preset. Now it's loaded. Now I just have to go to the Control tab. I'm going to overwrite the existing memory of the generator with this preset. So I've clicked that tab to overwrite the generator, and then I click the generator. Anything now to do is click Scan. Now, the amplitude will slowly go up, and then after a small delay, which is a delay for allowing everything to settle down, the frequency will start incrementing. You can see that the phase angle is changing and the current is changing a little bit. If you want to go to see more details, you go to the advanced screen. You can see the countdown happening there. Once this is 0, the biofeedback starts, the scanning frequencies advance. You can see the results of the scan here. These little lumps there will be biofeedback hits. And it will scan up to 1.8 megahertz. And after that time, it will show you the hits. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'll stop it and I'll increase the step rate, which makes the scan go much faster. it's only going to be for 1 minute now. What I'll do also is make it a 0 start delay. Okay, let's go. We'll start immediately when the amplitude has reached 20 volts and we're away. Now this is the scan going much faster, as you can see. It's already 100 kilohertz. The software comes with a user's guide, which I recommend people to read. Okay, it didn't find any hits, which is probably because I've got nothing within the sample digitizer. So we'll do another scan. I've set the threshold to 0, which means everything will be reported if there's anything. Okay, now because it's always increasing, it's not seeing any hits. What I'll do, I'll make some hits by touching the sample digitizer. Now I've put some hits in there. Okay, there we have it. These are the hits that Spooky found. 4 hits. Now, at this point in time, there's 2 things you can do. You can do a reverse lookup, which means you look at those frequencies and you see matches of the same frequencies within the database. I'll decrease the tolerance because that's very low. And it's showing you the matches here. There's only 2 frequencies that were found matches of, and one of them was the Campylobacter pylorides, and the other one is all of these ones here. It's only for reference sake, it's not a diagnostic device. Okay, so now I've got these 4 frequencies. What do I do? Well, I want to save them and run them on my generator. So I click on the save icon, and then I give it a name. So biofeedback. And 20220708. And the frequencies, that's all you've got to do, and then you just click on save. And so the programs are now there. There's my program I've just created. So you can load the program and you can run it. You can run it on the other generator if you like, and it's away. Now, notice the number of decimal places that are on these numbers. It's because it's such an incredibly accurate generator that it can do this. No other generator that I know of can go to this accuracy. Okay, so that is the general biofeedback scan with GeneratorX Pro. Other types of scans rely on the programs being loaded already. So let's say you're feeling unwell and you've got a cold. What I'll do, I'll refresh the database because I didn't allow the database to fully load before. What I will do, I'll load some programs up which are applicable for a cold, a common cold. Then I will run a grade scan to see which of those frequencies are most appropriate for me. I can use the TENS pad accessory, which is the cable and the pads themselves, and place them across my abdomen. But I won't, because this is just as a demonstration. I'll just run it through the sample digitizer. Okay, so it's still loading the programs. Right, okay, so I'll erase the biofeedback program memory and I'll just search for the word cold. Now it's got a huge number of programs for cold. So let's have a look. So I'll load all of these ones. If I were to run all these programs, even with the duplicate frequencies removed, it's going to take 8 hours. Now that's not much fun if you're using the application in contact mode. So I'll do something clever. Back in the control tab, I'll load it into a generator and then I'll scan. I'll make sure before I do the scan to select the grade program option. Fine. You've also got a preset here, which is GeneratorX grade program, grade scan, I should say. So if you choose the GX grade scan contact mode preset before you choose the programs, it'll select that automatically and all the other options. Okay, so let's do a scan and see what happens. The amplitude, which is the voltage, ramps up slowly because we try and avoid any sudden voltage spikes, which are quite painful. We're doing a countdown now. When you're thinking nothing's happening, it's just the whole system settling down, getting nice and stable. In fact, before you do a biofeedback, it's good to leave GeneratorX on for half an hour so it's up to its normal running temperature. That way the thermal characteristics do not change during the course of the biofeedback. Now remember that this was an 8-hour program with all these frequencies loaded. Now after the biofeedback scan, we'll save the best of the hits and choose only them. It's set for 6 samples per step. That's extreme accuracy. You can see here which frequency is being tested. Now for the purposes again of demonstration, I'm going to speed things up a little bit. So it's 1 sample per step and it's 0 delay. There's only 2 changes I'm making, so things happen faster. You can see we're already inspecting almost 40, the 40th frequency. There's 126 frequencies in total. Okay, we're well over halfway. And we'll have a look at the results now. And we're just going to choose the top ones. So deselect all of them as this icon here. And we'll just select the top 10. In fact, you can see the hit values here. Let's go to 12 because I've selected all the ones where the hit value is greater than 1. And the rest are either 1 or below 1. So these are the frequencies that matter for me. Now I can save, copy the frequencies to the clipboard. I can create a program up here. So this is what I want to do, create a program and cold call frequencies for me, and I save it. Sure you want to save it? Yes, I guess so. So if you go to programs and go to the end, I can clear all these 8 hours worth of program, load in the frequencies which my body needs, and now we're down to 36 minutes. Now, which one would you rather do? The 8-hour program or the 36-minute program? So now you choose a preset to run these frequencies. So I go to a shell empty preset, contact mode, and then you just choose the most appropriate one. I guess I'll be choosing killing contact mode. Load the frequencies. Go to the control tab. Click on the generator I'm using for the contact mode and press start. And we're away. Estimated total runtime 36 minutes. I could live with that. So that is the grade scan in use. The other scanner is the refine scan. Let's say we take these frequencies, which I know are for me, because biofeedback confirmed that. But I want to know whether these frequencies can be made more accurate. And that can be done if you deselect the grade program. Now it becomes a refine program. Refine scan, I should say. Refine scans optimize the frequency so they're very precise. Okay, and I'll load that back into the biofeedback generator and I'll hit scan again. Now, each of those frequencies are inspected and the decimal places is improved for each and every one. You can see it's found 315,400, oh, it's gone on to the next one. Okay. 100. So it was 120,000. It's found that the more accurate one is just below that, 119,000. It's too fast. But what it does, it finds the precise frequency, not the ballpark frequency. And so I've used the grade scan to see which of these frequencies were the most appropriate for me. I'm using the refine scan to increase the accuracy. If this was a XM generator, it would only go to 2 decimal places if the frequency was over 600 hertz. If it's below 600 hertz, then it's 5 decimal places. Because GeneratorX Pro is so much more powerful, it goes to 8 decimal places for any frequency. So we're now inspecting the 5th frequency. It's 5 out of 12. Now while it's doing that, I'll just have a look at the chats which have come up. Okay. And see if any questions have come through. Okay. Oh, people helping me with the slideshow. Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Okay. Now, Blair is asking, can you use fingernail dust for the Spooky2 Digitizer? Now, this clarifying this, people were wondering whether you can actually sprinkle fingernail dust on the Spooky Digitizer and run a biofeedback on the DNA of your fingernails. Yes, you can. And there's people that do that. There are people that also run the program. They actually run the same program on using Spooky Remote on a different generator and then go back to the Digitizer and then doing another scan. There's a scan option within Spooky2 of doing scan plus run, which alternates between scanning and running. And you can use urine, saliva, blood, nail, powder, and biological samples. Oh, urine's actually answered for me. Okay. And generally what Euro has added is always make sure the sample is replaced regularly. Samples, if they're liquid, can degrade quite rapidly. If it's blood and it's not dry blood, it can decompose. So that needs to be changed. We recommend every hour, but I guess it depends how hot the ambient temperature is. And always keep your slides clean and dry between use. Thomas is stating that he thinks that fingernail dust is not recommended. Thomas, it is okay to use fingernail dust. It doesn't need to be liquid in nature. What the sample digitizer does is it becomes a biological capacitor. The substance is the dielectric within this capacitor, and the dielectric can be a solid or a liquid, or even a gas. So it doesn't matter if it's a ground up solid. What is important though is the plates are virtually touching each other. There can't be any distance between the digitizer plates. So you can't put a whole fingernail in there because that's introducing an air gap. So you want to, if you are using fingernail dust, you'd want to put a good layer on it and then squeeze the two plates together. Maybe slide them a little bit to one side to make sure there's minimum air gap, and then place it within the holder. You can't use the whole nail, Sonny. Okay. Question by Thomas. Thomas ran the biofeedback with a sample digitizer on the GeneratorX Pro, and it ran for over 30 minutes. And now, the summary of Thomas's question is why does it take 30 minutes to do a biofeedback scan, both on sample digitizer and in contact mode? Both will be using GeneratorX because the XM generator can't use a sample digitizer. Only GeneratorX Pro can do that. We have introduced a delay just before every sample read. We are finding that the delay is conducive to more accurate results. So we've added a 0.05 second delay before each read. It slows it down marginally, but not by a lot, considering we're scanning at a very high resolution between 41 kilohertz and 18 megahertz. Okay. Sonia is asking about the fingernail again. You just use a fingernail file. Just go do what you do, and collect the dust from there. Okay. Marcia is asking. Well, her output 1 is generator 3, and I'm using 4. How do I know which one to use? On the display of GeneratorX, let's have a look, you can see. It actually says which one is which generator. Generator 1 is the top pane, and generator 2 is the bottom one, the lower one. I don't know how close I can get. And so in this instance, generator 1 is port number 4, and generator 2 is port number 3. The port number is not allocated by Spooky, and Spooky's got no control over that. It's allocated by Windows. So sometimes you get that. Generator 1 is the higher port number, or there might be some space. There might be ports 1 and port 8 for generators 1 and generator 2. That's a Windows issue. That's the operating system that we know and love. Okay. Didn't deliver results. Okay, now Mike is saying, as I understand it, Rife uses the sum difference of two frequencies in his research. Is generating a direct frequency didn't deliver the results desired. When the Spooky2 is doing the biofeedback, is it generating a single frequency and looking at the results, or generating multiple frequencies and looking at the biofeedback results of the sum difference? Okay, Mike, welcome to the age of the internet and the age of misinformation. Royal Rife did not use the sum differences of two frequencies in his research. He used a single frequency. He was switching the frequency to make give it more impact to the target pathogen, but he used a single frequency. And he was very much against using multiple frequencies. A person that helped him was Philip Hoyland, an engineer who had he was tasked with making Royal Rife's machine more stable. And he did this by using a carrier frequency, which had over which he had better control over, and then he introduced other frequencies to the carrier frequency, used modulation, and indirectly targeted the same frequencies that Royal Rife had directly. He never used the sum of two frequencies or the difference of two frequencies. It's a modulation, which is, you know, a different thing again. If you want to go down the route of Philip Hoyland using modulation, you can do that, and you can apply that using biofeedback as well, because GeneratorX Pro has got modulation options, but I don't recommend it. It's best to find the frequency you want to apply. You can use different tricks when you choose to apply the frequencies, but find the fundamental frequency, for goodness sake. Otherwise, you're really not knowing what your target is. Okay, after the program is run, have you ever rerun the biofeedback with new samples to see what the results are? Certainly. I do that all the time. Generally, the results will be different. You're looking at hits at that particular point in time. Now, because the sample that's inside the sample digitizer plates, or even if you're using TENS pads, you are actually getting the frequencies in your body, either through entanglement or directly if you're using TENS pads. And so the next time you run the biofeedback scan, the results will be different. Can the TENS pads be used more than once? Yes, you can use them more than once. You know, when you use them, they come with adhesive, clear adhesive pads, and you remove the pads. Remove the adhesive cover before you put it on your skin. Keep it, and then after you use it, put it back on again. And that's one way of keeping them dry. Another way is to stick them both together, but I don't really recommend that because sometimes it's hard to separate the two again. So let's keep the clear adhesive protective cover, and also keep the small Ziploc bag, because that also helps to prevent the TENS pads from drying out. And after you use them, zip up the bag again, and you'll get a longer life with them. Our pads are inexpensive. We don't make a profit from the pads. We think it's more important that people have the ability to afford pads and use pads that aren't dry. If pads start to dry, they can be dangerous because they can burn your skin. Unless, of course, you use the low power port of the Spooky Boost, which is right there. That one there. We're covering a lot of topics here, aren't we? How often can you do the biofrequency? I think you're asking me how often can you do biofeedbacks. Generally, we recommend once a day, but there are functions of biofeedback where you do hunt and kill, where the GeneratorX Pro will do a biofeedback scan, then apply those frequencies, and then immediately do an automatic scan again to see the results of running those frequencies. And that way, pathogens that try and evade the frequencies or mutate or are difficult to hit with the first frequencies found, you can apply that preset. Even a scan and run can be used as well. Okay, when you did this, the grade option, what were you comparing? Can you please explain slowly? It's a question from Parody. Okay, Parody, with the grade option of biofeedback, I loaded programs which I figured would be good for someone who is suffering from a cold, but the program length was 8 hours, and I'm sure that not all the frequencies would be applicable for me. So I wanted to find out which frequencies I needed. So, oops, I've gone to screen save. So I was really comparing each frequency with the others and seeing which of those frequencies provided the strongest response. So I'm comparing the frequencies with each other and I'm grading them from the highest, strongest response to the lowest, weakest response. And then I chose the top 12 because they're all over 1. 1 means there was no real response. It's baseline. And negative means there's no response. So that's what I was comparing. I was comparing each frequency with the others. I was inspecting them one at a time. Blair asks, should one run the terrain program then run biofeedback? You know, this is one recommendation we do give. Generally, the default thing is to run the terrain, just run it. Especially when you first get your Spooky2 rig, there's a lot of reading material to wade through, a lot of things to learn. But if you can run the terrain protocol, that's 11 days you've given yourself. During this time, all the toxins will be removed, the heavy metals, the common pathogens, parasites, molds and things. The main ones are targeted. Then you can do the biofeedback and get all go to a high resolution to get the pathogens that have evaded the ones that the terrain protocol didn't get. But don't run the terrain protocol during the biofeedback. We recommend you stop all other generators whilst you're doing a biofeedback. That way you don't get interference in the signals. It's just making the signal more pure. How do you clean the plates? Well, you can just get some damp tissue and wipe the plates. And then you wipe it dry with some more tissue. We do actually recommend, though, using alcohol because alcohol kills any pathogens that may be present in the slide, and that's the whole idea of it. Some material that you put in the slides can be quite yucky. It can be mucus, which is a very good thing to use because it's got a very high percentage of the pathogen. You put the mucus in the slide and you run your biofeedback on the slide. I'm using sample digitizer. Then I'd recommend you wipe it, first of all using a dry cloth, then you use a cloth with isopropyl alcohol or something similar just to wipe it clean and to kill any pathogens that are present, so it's sterile. Okay, I see you're said the same thing, but this is for the benefit of people that are watching it live on YouTube. I'll just go through. Should you only use the digitizer for one person, like the tennis pads, or you can clean it? You can clean it and use it for other people, Sonda. You don't really need to use a different slide for different people. Having said that, I do recommend you do, only because in my mind there is a chance that when you clean it there might be just a little bit of a residue that's microscopic, which you haven't managed to sanitize correctly. Also, the slides are porous along the edges, and there's a chance that some biological material has entered into that part of the slide. It's why these slides don't last forever, because it's porous. But it's not absolutely necessary. Okay, can the sample digitizer be run on the GeneratorX? Yes, it can be. Now, Thomas is really referring to the older version of GeneratorX. And of course, yes, we can run sample digitizer on GeneratorX. Okay, how often do we change the nail dust sample? This is a very good question. Theoretically, you don't need to change it at all. So if you do a really good job of covering the black surface of that E that's on the slide, and then you sandwich it together, theoretically that sample should last forever and a day, because the DNA within your nails doesn't decompose. Now, I must stress at this point, there is some dispute as to whether nail dust is a valid biological substance to put within the sample digitizer. The argument is that the pathogen is not actually present within the dust of the nails. But the counter argument is that the DNA in that nail dust is entangled with their own DNA. So when you're running a biofeedback scan on that nail dust, you're actually scanning your whole body. So it's up to you guys which one you do. Personally, when we have used nail dust, we have found that it does seem to work. Okay. Can you run the biofeedback by remote on a pet cat? Now, remote biofeedbacks, that's another thing again, where you haven't got any TENS pads connected to the cat, and I guess you're talking about using nail dust on the remote, on the sample digitizer. I guess you can do that, but I can't think of any other way of remotely scanning a cat. And again, this is that is still in dispute as to whether the whole concept works or not. And I've stated my personal view that it does work. Okay, for throat problems, we should put the TENS pads during biofeedback. Now, it's difficult because you want to avoid your thyroid. So you can't really put the TENS pads here. In fact, with TENS pads, you can't really go above the shoulder. So it's a bit of a problem. But throat, the pathogens which are causing your throat to be sore will be also in other places of your body. The most common placement location is across the abdomen. For some reason, doing that, where the signal passes through your gut, it seems to pick up pathogens which are causing strife elsewhere, be it in your sinuses, earaches, or even your sore neck, your sore throat. So still, you'd want to place the TENS pads across your abdomen. Yura has said, yes, you can, but it is rather dangerous. So I'd say I can test that answer that Yura gave. Sorry, Yura. If you do apply TENS pads to your above your shoulder, you need to use the low power port of the Spooky Boost. Now, as soon as you do that, you're introducing a noise, because even Spooky2 Boost adds noise into the circuit because it's exposed metal. with the biofeedback with the sample digitizer, and even with TENS pads biofeedbacks, I connect it straight to output 1 of the generator. I don't go through Spooky Boost. Okay. Maria is asking, would I suggest to run the hunt and kill for days if the number of hits remains the same? Usually you'd find, Maria, is that the number of hits will always remain the same because it's finding that maximum number of hits. But what you will find is that the value is less. This is this value here. Let's say I finish this demonstration, then I'll go full screen. So these are the hits it's found. So it's taken the frequency 315,500 and it is found at 315,443 deep breath 913,47816 is the exact frequency for me right now. So I would want to save that one and give it oops. And okay, and I'll save that. So now I can either choose this program, which has got nice round numbers, or this program, which is precise to incredible accuracy. So it's really up to you which one you do, but I'd choose this one for sure. So I'd erase the current frequencies, load the better one, and then load it, put into the frequency, the generator that's doing the treatment, and it's doing the exact frequency. None of this 315,500. I mean, it just sounds, you know, nature doesn't really believe in integers, nice round numbers. So yeah, this is the precise frequency. Okay, so I'll just stop the share and I'll go through the questions in full screen. Okay. Thanks, Yura, for answering the questions. Okay, so yes, for the just clarifying again, for the hunt and kill, the number of hits will remain the same unless the hit values drop below the minimum threshold, which is set by the preset, and then you'll get fewer hits being reported. Okay, Parody is asking, did I run the grade option while I still had the sample digitizer on the machine? Yes, I did. The sample digitizer was on the machine, and so you can run the grade option with sample digitizer. You need to have, for any biofeedback, something connected to the generator. So I was doing a sample digitizer scan. I could have chosen using TENS pads connected across my abdomen to refine that way. It's just your choice. Can you use peroxide for cleaning? Yes, you can. You can use hydrogen peroxide. I'd recommend 3% or above. Does scalar interfere with biofeedback? Like being in the scalar field while the sample digitizer scan is running? Yes, scalar does interfere with biofeedback. Most things interfere with biofeedback because biofeedback is so incredibly sensitive. It's picking up small fractions of a millivolt. It's measuring microvolts. So it's so sensitive that even almost like looking at it sideways will will skew the results a little bit. So try and keep things as steady as possible. Okay. Small basket dry makeup wipes. Okay, now Tess is saying to use your makeup wipes because they contain sometimes they contain some alcohol, but she uses a bottle of alcohol rub, which she got from a chemist, and she just places it next to the computer. It's nice and handy. You know, because we've provided a means where not just clinics can provide biofeedback, but you can, everybody can. We can do these things, we can set things up in the way that suits you. You may find that you've got methylated spirits, for example, which is another form of sanitizing agent. You've got it there in the garden shed, so you can use that. Just anything that can kill germs and not, you know, if it dries quickly, that's a bonus, because you don't want to keep these slides wet for too long. Okay, if the slides stick together, how do you recommend getting them apart? That's quite a good question. That would happen if the slides were together for too long and the substance dried out. Generally, if it's dry, there's a chance that they've been permanently damaged. That's the bad news. The good news is if they have been, well, they're not expensive and you can buy more. You can try... the only thing you can really try doing is prying them apart. And if you do that, pry them apart on this face. Don't go anywhere near the black part. And you'll be hoping that it doesn't cause any separation of the white there. If any of the white peels away, then you can't use it. The purpose of the white here and around the peripheral of this slide is to maintain several microns of distance for the substance to be sandwiched. It needs to have a small gap there, and that provides the gap. So there can't be any physical damage to that. There shouldn't be, because it's pretty strong, but it may become damaged. But don't pry using you'd use something like a Stanley knife, which is a carpentry type knife. You can't use a butter knife because it hasn't got a sharp edge. Or you could use a bread knife. Just make sure that your spouse isn't watching while you do it, and be very, very careful not to cut your fingers while you use it as well. If the sample digitizer has any scratch marks, this is actually a second-hand unit. It's got some scratch marks there. Then the results may not be so accurate. Okay, this is Julie, she's asking, how do I know if my cable has a good connection during biofeedback? She thinks that her cable is not good, but you can't tell. Like for example, when Julie had COVID, it wouldn't pick up anything important. Well, when you say it doesn't pick anything up important, you don't know. If it picks up anything, then anything is important, even if it's not in the database and you can't see any matches in the reverse lookup. Because all the reverse lookup is matching hits with what's existing in the Spooky2 database. It doesn't find any matches with anything that's not in the Spooky2 database. You can tell easily if your cable is good or bad by looking at the graph. I'll show you here. I'll start a share again, and I'll show you. Now, I will do it using my my Teams pad. So I'll connect my cable onto port number 4. I'll just touch these and imagine these are Teams pads. Okay, now I can either scan. I'll stop that. Okay, now I want to go generator number 4. I can do a scan. What's the best way? You know, with frequencies there, it's going to be too fast to see. So I've just cleared the frequencies using this button here. And now it's going to rely on these parameters for the scan. Then I'll do a scan. And what I'll be looking for is the graph. Now I'm holding on to these, the wire. If I let go of the wire, you can see the graph changes. Now this is now confirming that all the cables are good. If this is too complicated for you, there is another option. If you go to the System tab, there is an option to display GX current and angle. And now if you go to the Control tab, you can see, even without doing I'll stop the biofeedback, it will show all the time what the current is. And so I hold on to the wire. Because there's no frequency running through, it's only passively picking up the current that's passing through the wire because of the electricity within my body. And I'm fully charged. But you can still see there is a small change there. Or I can run a program. Let's see, I load this program here, which was the cold program. I load that into the same generator number 4, and I'm running it. Now it's running a fixed frequency, it's not scanning, and it's ramped up to the 20 volts. That's the signal open circuited. If I connect myself to the TENS pad, see it jumps right up because the current rises. Off again, down again. So it's a very simple way to check, make sure both the TENS pads and the cables all functioning correctly. Okay. Questions. Will you automatically send the recording to those that have attended today? I will need to review this again. Sandra, we don't automatically send because the file is so large, but it will be recorded and published permanently on YouTube. So it is certainly going to be good for later viewing. Yes, okay. In order to use, this is a question from Blair, in order to use plasma contact, what do we need to have? Central? To plasma contact needs to have Spooky Central, it needs to have TENS pad, it needs to have a cable. Blair's saying it wasn't part of a kit. I thought it was part of the central kit, that it comes with it. So let's have a look. Spooky2 dashboard. Well, I haven't got that loaded, but I'm pretty sure it's part of the kit. Maybe it can clarify. Maybe you can clarify that, whether it is or not part of the Spooky2 central kit. Okay, and you can subscribe to our Savvy YouTube channel, and you has provided a link in the chat box. Okay, and Tamara has made it late. Sorry that Tamara. Okay, Julie has asked, can I place these slides in water if they have stuck together? No, you can't. If you do that, you will have to throw them away. Bit of technical speak, this is made from FR4 material, which is like a type of fiberglass. It is waterproof on this face, but it's not waterproof on the edges. If you submerge it in water, the water will enter into the edge of the plate and work its way through capillary action all through the plate. You would never ever get it dry again, not properly dry. And you'll find that the results will become a little bit crazy when you do biofeedback scans. So no, don't immerse it. Blair, not part of your GX Pro kit. Okay. Plasma Central doesn't come as part of a GX Pro kit. Oh, Plasma. A part of my GX Plasma Pro. Really? Okay, I'll make inquiries, Thomas. Thomas is just mentioning that the TENS pads and cable weren't supplied in the GX Pro Central, I guess, kit. I'll inquire about that. Spooky2 Plasma is a plasma device that doesn't have contact mode. It's discontinued. Now we only sell the Central, which has got contact mode, so maybe that's the problem. Okay, now Margaret Merrifield is asking, scalar, are all generator frequencies scalar waves? The frequencies create scalar waves. Scalar waves are more like a field rather than a frequency, so no, the generator frequencies aren't scalar waves. It's like saying, are all things that are red apples, I guess. It's Spooky2 uses a frequency to establish a scalar field, and then you can introduce a signal into that scalar field. It's not as simple, Margaret, as saying, well, a frequency is a scalar frequency. All a frequency is a change of something, a regular change of something over a period of time. Frequencies generally have the unit of hertz, which is a change per second. The unit of 1 second is man-made. So when you start seeing frequencies which are integers, you know that it's going to be a rounded off number. And there's no frequencies which are scalar frequencies. There's none. A frequency is just a number. Like a 20 miles an hour. Is that a car? Well, it can be a car, it can be a bicycle, it can be a fast running person, not myself, but maybe someone else. But a frequency can be anything. It can be your heartbeat, it could be the cycle of day and night, or the planet around the sun for the seasons. That's a frequency as well. So a frequency is just nominating at the rate of a change. No frequencies are scalar frequencies. You can get scalar frequencies, but it's a scalar field with frequencies passing through them. So it's not an easy question to answer. So the GeneratorXM, is that scalar? Again, Margaret, just clarifying things. Scalar is different from EMF. It's different from the electrical motions that we have, that most of us think. Scalar is a longitudinal percussion type of energy field, and generator X and the XM generators are not scalar. You need to have a device to generate a scalar field, and then once that field is there, introduce information which is in the form of frequencies. So XM is not scalar, but you can certainly connect the generator to our Spooky2 scalar device and send frequencies through it. So I hope that clarifies things. Okay, are there any more questions? There's a lot of material that we covered which were not pertaining to our GX Pro, so I'm sorry for that. A lot of people will be looking at this and thinking, well, this looks a lot like our Generator X, our previous model. I'd like to draw attention to the fact that you have a beautiful light frame around the controls and the display. It's not where the money was spent, by the way, but it's just another way of visually showing that it's a different generator. And of course, you've got the Bro. I'm from New Zealand. The Pro writing up there. The original Generator X didn't have such a high resolution for its frequencies. The high resolution peaked out at 40 kilohertz, and above 40 kilohertz, the resolution dropped to 2 decimal places, not the 8 decimal places of the GX Pro. And there's other small changes as well. No more questions? Thanks, guys. Hey, this was my first YouTube broadcast. I hope it was successful. I hope that the video did stream online okay. I didn't get any messages from the people viewing, but maybe there isn't any facility for posting comments underneath there. But never mind. But it is a pleasure to be here, and exciting for me to present this new device to us. We've had GeneratorX Pro for a few months now, and yes, it's a very exciting product. Now, us at Spooky2, we're always working hard to develop the latest and greatest products for our customers. We're always thinking of ways that we can raise humanity and make an impact on the world. So we're thinking both in the way of frequency treatments, lifestyle treatments, but we're also looking at charities. We're looking at ways that we can make people more aware that they are actually part of a larger community, and we want the community to be a loving community rather than a hateful community. So what I have always said when I've been broadcasting on the previous summers to the Facebook, I tell the viewers to pass the love forwards, to try and do their little bit to make the world a better place. And we think we're doing pretty good together. I can see it. And the paradigm change is happening. When you think about the pandemic that we're still going through after years and years, the impact it's made on our personal lives. But disregarding the negatives, there has been positives. It has made people group together, usually through the internet, because physical groups were banned for a while. And people were realizing that we're in it together, so we've got to fight it together. And I can see that people are now starting to question the information that has been provided through some formal channels, and they've started looking themselves critically at other ways that they can resolve problems. And I've seen more and more people become aware of alternatives, and that's good. That's of all the nasty things that have happened, of the friends that and family that I've lost, that's the positive which I've gained over the last few years, is that more and more people are aware and are deciding to become self-empowered. And I like to think that Spooky2 is part of that. And I also like to think that we can provide the products to help you. When you get something like GeneratorX Pro, which can perform biofeedback scans that in the past you had to go to expensive clinics to sit down and wait for your turn and go and get plugged up and go through the scan, and then get the results printed out. Now you can perform the scans yourself. You've got all the information yourself. You can create your own specific programs, and you can run them yourself. You can do everything. So you are your own doctor. That's our goal. Make people so they're empowered. They can improve the lives of themselves, the people they love and the people they don't love. They can make a change, and that's what's really needed right now. I'm not talking about opposing. I'm not anti-vaccination or anything like this. Of course, I've got my views, but what I am very pro is to learn and become empowered and to be able to apply the things that you learn. And yeah, we're part of that change. So thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure in holding this summer, and I look forward to our next time. I don't know what the subject's going to be. I think I have got an expert. Oh, no, actually, I'm going to be interviewed on a different channel. Someone who doesn't know what they're in for. But actually, this other channel I'm going to be interviewed, I think it's next week. It's a vegan channel. It's got nothing to do with Spooky2. And I think, heck yeah, I'm into that. Because when you become a vegan or vegetarian, if it's not for your health, you do it by choice. The only reason can be for spiritual, realizing that not only humans have treasure their lives. There's no animal that I can think of that actively, wants to die. And I'm going to really enjoy that interview because I've got a lot of personal views which I will feel free and I will throw. They don't know what's coming. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about longevity too, because I see on several of their interviews, there's people talking about how to age gracefully. Well, you know what age? Who wants to age at all? And there's things you can do, things called biohacking, where you can actually stall aging. And it's not hearsay. It's absolute fact. And they've done this for a great number of years and proven that it does increase the length of your telomeres, which are a marker for age of your DNA. Once you run out of those, then your cells become senescent, become non-viable, and then you start getting diseases. But you can actually stop all of that and actually increase the length of them as well. Either hydrogen hyperbaric chambers, or you can do it chemically. And I know there are ways, and I actually do them. So yeah, I look forward to that interview. And there's also projects coming up which are super exciting, products which I can't talk about now because I like working here, and if I tell you, I'll be showing the door. Well, maybe I won't be, but I'll be certainly told off. So I can't give any information away. But we're very, very active in finding the very, very best solutions for people. And let's watch the space. So as well as GeneratorX Pro, we've got a ton of other products. Please visit us on our website at spooky2-more.com. That's our sales site. Our main site is simply spooky2, it's number 2.com. And you can see from there our other sites. Hidden and buried amongst one of the links is all the charity work that we do and sponsor. There's even things that we don't do, like assisting in the building of a hospital in Guatemala, and other places that we're sort of helping out, because once they're established, then they can help other people as well. Other clinics around the place, we sometimes help them as well. We really want to help as many people as possible. So when you buy products from us, it's helping us to help others. It's kind of cool as well. Yeah, okay, well that's my lot for today. Hey, thanks everyone for tolerating my ramblings, and I look forward to seeing you in the next summer. Take care. Bye-bye. Well, that wasn't too bad, was it? It was okay. We talked an awful lot about all other things, especially biofeedback. And didn't spend a terrific lot of time on GeneratorX Pro. But of course, GeneratorX Pro is needed, I guess, for running those biofeedbacks. The XM generator is a good generator, and you can use that for running the frequencies that you discover using biofeedbacks from GeneratorX Pro. But to run them with any sort of accuracy, of course, GeneratorX Pro is the way to do it. Yeah. I didn't mention during the formal summer why we upgraded GeneratorX to GeneratorX Pro. Well, the reason was because of the component shortages. We couldn't source the components that were going into GeneratorX, so we had the choice of either downgrading to lesser components or upgrading. We thought, well, this is our high-end product. This is our very fastest, bestest generator. We didn't want to cut it, hobble it in some way, so we upgraded. We found out that we could upgrade it a lot without spending too much. I think it cost us $90 total in component costs, which is kind of a lot, but you know. And we increased the price of GeneratorX Pro by $70. We sort of bit the bullet and made things a little bit tighter for ourselves, in the hope that if we buy the components in the next batch in a larger volume, then we can break even with a price difference. But we're pleased we did upgrade instead of downgrade. In fact, there must be a lot of manufacturers that decided to downgrade because their business model is different to ours. We know that a higher resolution and accuracy is good for results, for better results. But I mean, if we could have downgraded, if we had downgraded, we could have kept the price the same and made our margins higher. But that's not kind of nice, is it? Not really, not nice. Okay, Lilu or Lulu is asking, can you elaborate on biohacking? Can you use Spooky2 to do that? You can. There's a preset in Spooky2. In fact, I think I've still got it running, so I'll share my screen and oops, I'll go to there. Okay, in the presets, I'm not sure if I go back to home, miscellaneous, remote, I think, anti-aging. There we go. Now, this is a reasonably full list of the chemicals and substances which biohackers use to live next to indefinitely. I know and take of quite a few more. This preset was using the most basic compounds. Just to give you an idea, the spermidine that was given to lab rats, mice actually, and it increased their lifespan by 20%, just that alone, no other change whatsoever. And each of these compounds to the effects of the spermidine, like polysulfonol, that's extremely good as well. Spermidine and polysulfonol, polysulfonol, they're very expensive products. And so when you buy them, they're so, the quantity of it is so low, it's like 10 milligrams per tablet of spermidine. You need more than that to replicate the results of the lab. And when you up the dose, then the expense goes through the roof. If you can, buy a capsule maker and buy these products from wholesale suppliers. You can buy them in bulk by the kilo and then make your own capsules. That's what I do. But I'm living in a country where they're not so regulated in this. You may find that in some countries they don't allow you to use some of these things. Some countries are regulating vitamins. Isn't that crazy? Regulating a natural substance. Next they'll be regulating what you grow in the garden. That's the life we live in. That's the world we have to change. Anyway, if you run this preset, it's been already set to run in remote because it's a remote preset. So just I'll show you. Just press run with the remote connected to the output, and all the frequencies for these products. These are the molecular weight frequencies of these products. Will be sent to the remote. You will then get the effects of that substance, and the cost will be free. And yeah, that's the cost at the end. That's a pause at the end, just to give your body a chance to go, and it loops again, and it'll loop indefinitely, I think. Let's see, have a look. Yes, it'll repeat indefinitely. 0 means it'll loop all the time. So that's one way of having the biohacking substances applied to your body. There are more, and there may be some that are better suited for your body. You may have a cholesterol problem, in which case there's things you can add to it. Yeah, but this is the basic one for extending your life. If you run this and just dedicate one channel to run these substances, it's quite a good scheme. And of course the notes gives details of what each item does. Improve vaccine protection for older adults. It's really amazing. Resveratrol. I've got 2 mines with resveratrol. I don't take that myself anymore. I found that it can cause joint pain, but remember, everyone's different. Glutathione, I'd actually recommend glutathione sulfate because it's more biologically readily available. Acetylglutathione, that's really good stuff. When people say, oh, I take vitamin C, you can take vitamin C, but if you really want to take the mother of all antioxidants, of which vitamin C is one, take this one here, acetylglutathione. A little bit expensive, but again, in this preset, it's free. Maybe one day I should create a preset which contains all of my biohacking substances. So I've got a lot. Okay, go back from there. Just going, let's have a look. And yeah, yeah, there's another thing I've added for anti-aging. It's fisetin. That's in your body. Once your cells reach the DNA, the telomeres become short, too short. The cells become senescent, which means they basically stop performing any work, but they're still there, and those cells can become cancerous, because there's no more room for cell division without errors becoming introduced. And fisetin removes these cells. Super expensive stuff, but the idea is to take a lot of it once every month. Just a one single dose, maybe once every 2 months, and depending on the depth of your pocket. And yeah, I mean, there's a crazy lot of supplements you can do to help. Even with COVID-19, there's things which I was taking just to, in case I did get COVID-19, because I'm type A blood type, which is one of the ones which is sensitive to the COVID-19 The people that have some blood types are more affected than others. Type O is less affected. But lactoferrin negates that, so I take that. Also makes smoothies nice and thick as well. And instead of taking an antistatin for cholesterol control, why don't you take pectin? The same pectin you use for thickening jam. So it's really cheap stuff. You just go to a supermarket and you buy pectin, and you throw that into a blender, or you can just have it straight in powder form, and that lowers your cholesterol. Simple things you can do to improve your health. You don't need to take drugs. Yeah, there's so many things. AKG is another thing, fantastic for anti-aging, longevity, super powerful. Quercetin is extremely good. There's also an antioxidant, but it's fantastic for anti-aging. There's so many things. People know about K2 and D3 for COVID-19. People that have a lot of D2 in their body don't become seriously ill with COVID-19. That's what they found in several studies. And so in India, they gave it out to people to try and prevent excessive deaths. It's so many things. If you've got diabetes, you don't need to take the diabetes medication. You can use supplements, and supplements don't have the nasty side effects and aren't difficult to wean off afterwards. There's so many things you can do, but you've got to be proactive, and you've got to do the hard yards, which is do the research and find out. Let's have a look. Collagen and C60. There's a thing that Renee was asking. Yes, you can add a collagen and C60. Personally, I don't do collagen because it's from the sources where I can get it from, it's animal-based. I don't feel comfortable putting anything that causes an animal's death into my body. Something about my karmic points and things like that. And C60 is amazing stuff. You can use that with the olive oil. Yeah, certainly. And you can imprint the frequencies into water, Margaret, you can. It's a very good idea. You can run 2 different programs at the same time, plasma and remote at the same time. Yes, no problem with that, Julie. Pectin, Julie, P-E-C-T-I-N, pectin. It's used for making jam. It thickens jam. So one may argue eating copious amounts of jam might make you healthy. Well, it might, but you'd be fat healthy. But pectin is derived, generally it's from the skin of apples. Yeah. And super common, so they can't regulate it. Don't you love it? You know, something which can't be regulated is fantastic for you. So I take pectin too, yeah. Marine-based, yes, the marine base is from the shells of shellfish, but even that means that shellfish died to donate its shell involuntarily for our use. But there is a plant-based collagen product, but I just can't get it where I am. So I just, I keep looking, but I can't find it. But you know, for collagen is more for, well, it is internal, but most people take it for just for their looks, for getting rid of wrinkles. If you're worried about wrinkles, you use argan oil, cold-pressed, unrefined, preferably organic. Argan oil is A-R-G-A-N. Gosh, I can go all day on advice I've got for longevity, looking young, energy, even having babies. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. And I use argan oil. I was using candlelina oil because it was cheaper, but argan oil is really head and shoulders above that. It's a very thick oil, so don't expect it to disappear. But it is absolutely laden with the things that your skin and your subcutaneous cells need to be healthy. I've never told my age, certainly not publicly, but I find that it makes people look much younger. So if that is your worry, or just, well, I mean, most people at least want to look young, don't they? Then try and find the real deal argan oil. It might be promoted as for use in your hair because it's very good for your hair as well. But if you just put it, just a few drops on your palm, go like this, and then put it over your face and your neck, because people age on your neck. Not me, because I use argan oil. You'll find it really is amazing stuff. Yeah, it gets rid of crow's eyes and everything. It's really good, really good. Okay, NMN, fantastic stuff, Elena. And I also use NMN. That's a very strong form of antioxidant. It's also got anti-aging properties. You know, when you take things for anti-aging, it's not necessarily for that, because what do you think, when you think about it, anti-aging is also maintaining your body's health. So it's not just living a long time. You've got to live a long time without getting cancer. So you need to take things to prevent cancer, which will eventually catch up with you if you live long enough, if you're happy enough to live into your hundreds. And so there's things you can take to prevent that. In fact, there's one very good one. I'll just see if I can find it. Astaxanthin, Astaxanthin, that's actually a slight change of subject. That's for general immune support. You may think, well, what's that got to do with aging? Well, it's got a lot to do with aging, because as you age, your immune system becomes less active. This helps maintain your immune system. And your immune system is necessary to prevent cancer and a multitude of other diseases and illnesses. That same compound reduces inflammation, and it even protects your skin from UV damage, and stops. It keeps your brain sharp as you age. But back to now, IP6 is specifically, I take that one for cancer. IP6, that's magic. Just while I'm seeing it, I take EDTA every couple of months to chelate any heavy metals that may have accumulated in my body. I removed all my amalgam fillings about 2 years ago now. Best thing I ever did. I don't believe that the dentist used the correct method to extract them, and I had plenty of them. But I was very, very careful to try not to breathe through my mouth as they're extracting it, and not to swallow it all, because of course my saliva would have the mercury. And beforehand, I overdosed on EDTA, and immediately afterwards I did the same. It gave me, it made my stools a little bit firm, but what EDTA is a very, very effective heavy metal chelation agent. And so any mercury that may have entered my body, and it certainly, I'm sure some did, they got rid of it straight away before it entered my cells. And I take that regularly as a precaution, because in today's society, there's mercury and lead and aluminium and other heavy metals just everywhere. And EDTA just gets rid of it quite aggressively. If I was to get a vaccination, that's one of the very first things I do before and immediately afterwards. Let's have a look. Astragalus is one of my amazing substances as well. It's actually a natural plant that lowers blood pressure and protects the liver. But no, I'm focusing on the cancer one. I can't find which one specifically for cancer, but NMN is very strong for anti-aging. It might have been the IP6, which is one specifically for cancer. When I look at my family tree, I ask my relatives what health conditions run in the family, and then I take compounds and lifestyle changes that prevent it happening if I've got the genes for that condition. Like I know that thyroid problems run in my family, so I take the B vitamins, I take the a bioavailable form of iodine, and I take other supplements for the thyroid. And every time I go for a health check, I do one once every year, the thyroid is as happy as anything. In fact, they say to me, it's beautifully rounded, whatever that means. Beautifully rounded, and all the THS and whatever, the other levels that the hormone levels, they're right, perfect. And they're non-changing. So I know that the compounds do work. If I was to buy these compounds in tablet form, I wouldn't be able to afford them because I do take quite a few. But I buy them by the kilo, the powder from the factory that makes it, and I make them into the tablets. And that way I can take the dosage that's necessary for the effects. Like, for example, like the spermidine, that one there, if you buy that in capsule form, if you buy the expensive capsule, it's 20 milligrams. And a bottle of 20 of these might be something like $60, $80 US. Something like that, super crazy price. I buy it for... By the kilo, I buy a kilo of it, of the powder. Cost, I've got to do a conversion here. It's about, I think it's just over $1,000 US, a lot of money. It lasts forever because I make 1 gram tablets. And so it's going to last 1,000 days. And that's 1,000 milligrams of spermidine versus 20 milligrams. And which one would you rather take? You don't overdose on it. And if you look at the scientific reviews and the scholarly searching on the search engines, you'll find that when they do the tests on the mice, they set the dosage at so many milligrams per kilo weight. And if you convert that to human weight with a conversion factor, which was empirically derived, you'll find that you need much more than 20 milligrams to have an effect. So, yeah. It's true, it is spermidine, but not enough. Not enough for an effect. And the same with quercetin and resveratrol. They're really cheap products. Resveratrol, for example, if I buy a kilo of that, it's maybe $200 or $150. Actually, I think it's only about $100 for a kilo. I make 1,000 milligram capsules, and that's far better than these, 100 milligram, high dose 100 milligram tablets that you buy in the market from a chemist or drugstore. That's crazy. God, you know where that money's going, don't you? And it's easy to encapsulate these compounds. The capsule machines are really simple. They're just little plastic things. You just load the capsules in, put the powder in, and then put the lids on, push it down, and they're made. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's enough rambling. I guess what I'm really trying to say is that there's always answers out there. You've just got to look for them. For whatever health condition you have, or whatever health level you want to achieve, there are solutions. You just have to go and find them. You won't find them usually by Google. You just get confused, be led to a site which is run by a general practitioner or someone that's got their fingers in the pocket of some supplier somewhere. Go to scholarly search and look in the proper research papers, or search in the patents area, or ask someone who's done that and get a totally unbiased opinion. And I don't sell supplements at all. So I like to think that and I take them. So I know firsthand what the results are, and the effects, at least on me. And some people I've also given the products to for helping them. I can tell you what's worked and what hasn't worked, you know. I can tell you that, for example, for cancer, I can tell you that B17, the magical vitamin, it's not as good as what they say. It does work to some degree, but it's not magic. And if you do a Google search, you'll find B17 is fantastic, it's amazing, it's cured this and that. If you want to go magic, you really want to go to things like the C60 and IP6. They're really serious compounds that work much better. I'm going to have breakfast. Alrighty, that's it. I'm out of here. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care. Keep on passing love forwards. And I'll catch you next time. Okay, bye-bye.